So, good morning from Ballater, and here is the computer-generated, if you like, that I'm using. I'm becoming such a technophobic dinosaur, haven't I? But this is our version of our newsletter, so you don't get it through the post on a piece of paper. But it seems to be what you all want, so we'll continue it this way. You haven't had a newsletter since the beginning of June, so now as we're rapidly getting towards September, and we've extended our summer show by about a week to go into the beginning of September. So, as usual, we're going to give you a quick tour of what's here and a little bit about paintings, and then I'll sit down and, by public demand, sounds a bit, I don't know, by public demand, we're then going to, I sit down and tell you about what's been selling, what's been happening. But let's, with no more ado, have a look at some paintings. We're moving this fabulous painting, which I can't follow. Arrived for the start of the summer show, and there was so much interest. Solar, a serious piece of art, investment art, I suppose. Wonderful painting by Colin Fraser using egg tempera on gesso board to absolute maximum effect. Don't get me wrong, we've sold 3 or 4 of Colin's wonderful pieces. They're not cheap, but they're investment pieces. Look at the one at the top left, Tom, up here. You just look at flow, and genuinely, I think everybody would have to agree. So expertly executed in every way, from the apple, the scarf, and the chair. I really would have put money on it. And this is funny, where, myself, and my colleagues, we get things wrong, because paintings come in here at times and you just think, that's going to go. Funnily enough, the green Joe Hargan behind me, Life's Ups and Downs, I thought that would have gone instantly, and it hasn't. These 2 Colin Frasers, I thought the same. We've just literally hung this incredible bright summary. This is for the very end of the summer show, and this masterpiece by David Smith, RSW, is the Cowes of Lochailsh Lighthouse, and it really, I don't know, it just makes you smile. Here, as we're trying to bring in paintings that are a bit different for the end of the summer show. We haven't mentioned in recent newsletters, Tom, about Ewan McGregor, but these are new pieces, and actually there was one of Lochnagar Distillery, and it sold within a day on Saturday. And up above, we've got an absolutely cracking, almost with a sort of Scandinavian twist sometimes, the way Ewan paints so beautifully with acrylics on board, and that's Gordon Harbour. Tom, I want you to come over here, because again, the new paintings are arriving now for our possible autumn-winter show, and Michael Clark, RSWRGIP, all these initials and awards, different artisan, has just sent up this cracker, which I have to say I would find a space for in my own house any day. Look at the frame, just a wonderful painting about a modern take on life and what he sees at French markets. Different price level altogether, but a terrific painting arrived for autumn winter already by Ruth Corbett. And I'm just looking here. We only have, we'll talk about them later, we only have about 4 paintings left by Andrew Thompson from the 24 he sent. I'd like you to turn right around to the Robert Kelsey's, please, Tom. I think we sold 2 of Robert Kelsey's wonderful oils 2 weeks ago. And the 3 here are of Portree, Ailsa Craig, and Iona. Classic Scottish scenes. Moving to the right, Marion Drummond, we sold her Gertrude Jekyll roses. We sold another big one in the last few weeks, and this arrived yesterday. I just feel Marion, as usual, with her expert technique, has got the pinks. Tom, do you know the name of these flowers?
Musk mallows.
Musk mallows. heavens above, I feel inadequate enough about so many things without the floristry ability. But look at this, the colours are superb, and that has just arrived. And we're showing it now in a very contemporary way under Lucy McLaren's paintings of with lots and lots of movement in them. Louis McNally, he is our newest signing, and I'll be honest, it was a little bit slow. I thought, what's going on here? And then 1, 2 both sold very quickly. Have a look at the clarity and the ability of Louis' work. I'm going to move this painting, Tom, as we're talking. This is huge. Well, it's not huge, but it's a very serious big painting by Anne Oram. And Anne, as many people would say, is one of the best watercolourists in Britain. But in this painting, she's used a mix of, I think, oil and mixed medias and ink and a pastel, hence why it has to have the glass. But it's just joyous and bright and summery. And this was painted especially by Anne, especially for the second half of the summer show. We always have at the Ballater Gallery, we don't overly publicise it, I suppose, the wonderful bronze work, mainly from David Meredith. And I suppose we sell David Meredith certainly every week. And they really are special and generally signed they're always signed, but generally small, limited editions. Look up, talking about Lucy McLaren, keeping up diversity in her work. This is effectively a diptych, which the two paintings of the horses run into one another. I'd like you to go over, Tom, before we sit down and have a look at the Astrid Trucs. Again, we've sold a few Astrids, and this one at the bottom called Berry Picking, gesso collage, dry pigment, and and glue, I think. It's just class. The way she paints and the reason she's award-winning, they're wonderful, wonderful paintings. I think before we sit down, Tom, I think the whole point of this, as we rewind, if you like, and come back to how we've started things off, we want to tell you that we're ever changing. We've got our viewing room in Aberdeen, which is by appointment only, although we're working on something rather exciting potentially for the end of November. We'll tell you about that later. But we can meet people in Aberdeen. I do it at least every week. John tends to be there most Wednesdays, but we still prefer appointment. It's about double the size of the gallery, so we have usually about 50 paintings there. We have a store in Ballater. We have other places that we keep painting. So please keep an eye on the website. We don't want to bore everybody with videos and social media dropping ins. If you keep an eye on the website and you're interested in buying, or you've missed out on a painting, you think, David, would the artist maybe consider painting something similar for me? That's where we can help. And I hope the one thing that would really annoy me, and this is just because it's a newsletter to our friends who watch the newsletters, is we don't want to be boring. We don't want to just be known for selling quite expensive paintings. We want to think that there's something here for everybody. And I think Fiona said to me the other day, there's something from £350, not quite up to 30,000, but certainly up to 25,000. There's something for everyone. So let's sit down. So nice to sit down after the tour, and hopefully you've enjoyed seeing what is around at the end of the summer show. As I was saying, the last thing I want people to think about is that the summer show has been a flop. It's certainly not been a flop, but Tom tells me from the website interaction and the social media and things that you like to know what's kind of going on in the background at the gallery about artists. Some of you inquire about investments. I keep saying it, we're not going to be one of these galleries that advises anybody how to invest in art. Yes, I've heard stories that people have bought from us. They may have sent to auction and they've made money, but that's not what we do. On our newsletter, which this is now, I would have preferred, in all honesty, to just dictate in the old-fashioned way I used to do at Knight Frank, and my secretary wrote the letters. I'd love to do that, but it seems to be this is the modern way to send out a newsletter, and it seems to be what you appreciate. So what we're going to talk about now is, after you've seen these paintings by Joe Hargan, you've seen paintings by Colin Fraser and Astrid Trug, is to let you know a little bit, without going into too much detail, about what's sold over the last 2 months. And that's where Tom will drop them in as we're talking about the paintings. And a little bit about the background of just, I suppose, where the paintings are off to and what people in general think about them. So let's start off, not in alphabetical order, but Astrid Trug, one of our most recent signings, I think just over 12 months ago. And you'll see when you look at the website, all of the sold paintings, and we're delighted to have told you about 2 new arrivals. But Astrid's painting called Lobster with Sea Salt and Samphire, have a look at that. I think there were 3 people after it had sold who came on saying, we've just seen this on the website. Remember, red dots mean sold. And it really left something. So there are certain paintings by certain artists, don't mess about or you lose it. And Astrid certainly won't repeat and repeat. Anne Skinner, another even newer signing to her stable. Anne Skinner, there was a spell for maybe 3 months where she hadn't sold anything, but now I can report that sailing boats off Battersea, Drangdy at Crivy, notice my pronunciation of Crivy, when you see it dropping in it looks like Crovy, but it's Crivy, and Fishing Boat by Crivy, small paintings. The Crivy one was only £450. The Fishing Boat was only £395. Sometimes I get a little bit annoyed if I have the door a little bit ajar, and I tend to be here at weekends, and I hear people commenting, I won't impersonate, about the price of things in the window. Well, you look at Anne Skinner's paintings, Ruth Corbett, again, it's a real run of paintings. Figs, they're dropping in now as I'm talking to you. Pink peonies, or peonies, I can't remember what you say. Pansies, 750, 450, 950. Roses, rose finches, another one. They're dropping in, I know, as I'm talking to you here. And prosperity and fruitfulness. These paintings have all sold, and many others by Ruth. And they're really exceptionally well painted, and they're also ideal as gifts. Let's take a little bit of a jump, because we've been talking about affordable, and we've pointed out earlier on in this newsletter Colin Fraser's work. So Colin Fraser had 2 paintings which we had a lot of interest in, but gosh, Ascending, great big painting, £18,500. And I had so many people that were saying they loved it and all the rest of it. And I thought, it was in the window, it almost stopped the traffic. Look at Ascending. It's got an ethereal quality of walking up the path. Where is it going? What's the story? And then somebody snapped it up. We must have had 7, 8 calls from people as Ascending still available. And they're almost a bit, oh, it's sold. Not disparaging to me. But if you're not fast, you're last. A really, really beautiful painting, and also the gorgeous painting by Colin Reds, also was probably in the gallery for 2 or 3 weeks and then snapped up. And funnily enough, it's a friend of mine from Glasgow who's bought that and is having the frame, having the painting reframed because he wanted it in black. The black frame. So that's jumping there about Colin Fraser. And let's then go back to Andrew Thompson, because Andrew Thompson, I know the people who receive the mailing, the newsletter, utterly love Andrew Thompson's work. Now, Andrew loves paintings, small paintings. You know, it's his thing. Andrew and I came to an agreement, I think, at the end of March that he would paint a lot for us, and we'd have a mini show kind of online. Many of you will have seen this. He painted 24 exceptional small paintings. Maybe 2 of them were a bit bigger. I think I'm right in saying there are 3 or 4 left. If you look at the website, look at the red dots, I'm pretty sure that's 21 paintings have sold during the summer show by Andrew Thompson. Tom said to me, let's have a bit of a variety. I can't talk about all the artists who have sold. I can rattle off a few. David Smith, everybody knows he sells very well. And, we've talked about the new paintings for the latter part of the summer show. But have a look at Argo at Crinan. Have a look at Argo at Seal Island. They're dropping in now. And David goes away in a boat. He's one of the most active men, don't think you mind me saying, in his mid-60s. Rock climbing, cycling, mountaineering, jogging, everything. And a terrific artist to deal with and a good friend. His paintings, they just seem to, they make people smile and they're doing well. And St Andrew's Walk was a painting which really did mean something to people. And the couple who bought it have become friends. They're in London. And the moment it was put on the website, I think day one, they got in touch and said, David, could you send a WhatsApp video, including the frame? I did. They bought it. After that, I think Fiona or Helen in the gallery said to me, must have been 5 calls. What about the St Andrews painting? Jumping around a little bit, what was it Tom said to me? There was an artist people were curious about and asking, and it was Hannah Cassignel. Hannah paints very, very photorealistically, and we've mentioned the new painting of the whiskey, and they're not expensive. They're only £750. Chew it over. Juicy cherries, both sold very, very quickly. Jumping around again, Dale Bisland and his wife, Denise Finlay, they again have both had a lot of success here. Dale's fabulous painting, portrait of a breakfast. Have a look at it, a big painting. Some people say, gosh, there are certain artists, they really can paint quickly. Linda Park, Alison Cowan, Cecilia Cardiff, funnily enough, haven't been selling quite as much over the last couple of months, but then last week, Cecilia sold Firefly, Alison Cowan, Meadow Medley, Daisies on Blue, Linda Park, Sunrise on Cliffs at St Cyrus. New work will be arriving by all of these artists as you're watching this newsletter. Robert Kelsey, I've shown you in the video walking around his new paintings which are hanging on the wall, but Robert's North Shore Iona was a stunning painting, and I've seen it in its new home. Jack Morocco, yes, everybody knows, again, he sells very well. And Jack's 3 paintings which sold, White Guitar and Whistler, 12,700, Weeping Willow, Old Pond, 17,000, Cafe Renaissance, Gord, £9,000. Again, a lot of demand, but we like to have Morocco's, and there's a couple more here for a short while. So it does show that people are buying all different types of work. Watch this space for Kirsty Wither. She's currently painting for us, and there are going to be 4 to 6 new paintings by Kirsty. And of course, her painting on stage today. Look at this one, snapped up again. Anne Oram, I've mentioned, sent up 2 wonderful summer paintings and very quick sales. So there's lots going to be happening. We're working on something very exciting at the viewing room that's going to be in December and January. I'm not going to say too much more at this moment, but I will tell you more in our next newsletter. If all I want to repeat is the summer sale maybe hasn't been the biggest success because the tourists, I must say, don't seem to be buying bronzes and silverware and small paintings the way they have. But we seem to be couriering more to Glasgow, to Edinburgh, funnily enough, to Perthshire and the islands. And also we use Aardvark, it tends to be the courier to London, and they were just saying we're with you every week picking up. we'll go to the effort. We'll get them to you by hook or by crook. It's just sent 2 crackers off to Houston and Tex, that's not the Houston in Renfrewshire. So we want to go to the extra effort. We'll constantly send you WhatsApp videos, and hopefully this newsletter has given you an idea of what's happening at the Ballater Gallery now and what's been happening over the summer. So call me anytime if anything's tickling, and we'll help you out. Bye.